And really anything you can think of gets better when it's faster and fresher.
Okay, and this brings us to kind of what Chalk does. And I think the best place to start is really, why does a shift from training to inference compute require different data pipelines? So perhaps you could explain to us how the batch system works, and then also maybe how Chalk approaches this to make it effectively real time, as far as I can tell.
Absolutely. So maybe I'll share another example. One of our customers,
Please.
Whatnot, they're the largest live streaming marketplace in the United States. It's kind of like eBay and QVC mashed up a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah,
So
yeah. I've seen that they're growing like mad right now. Yeah.
They are growing like mad. They're a totally incredible company. And before us, when you open the home screen of the app, you would see a set of recommendations. They actually generated those recommendations on a nightly basis. So they would look at everything you browsed for, shopped for in the past. And let's say it was a lot of sneakers. You come in the app the next day, you're going to see a lot of sneakers. But what if that morning you're browsing for Pokemon cards? It's not going to update. They weren't able to update. Or I'll take a different user scenario. Imagine it's a brand new user where there is no data. And all of a sudden, the home screen of the app is populated their For You feed with almost a random set of products because they don't have data, because they haven't done that job in advance.
Right.
What we helped them to do was to instantly update the set of recommendations based on what you're browsing for in the moment. And so instead of these batch training jobs, these training data pipelines, Chalk is able to get fresh data to machine learning and AI models in context at inference time, which means when someone clicks a button, when they load a page, we can help a model fetch the data from the source so it's really fresh and really relevant to what you're doing in that application.
So fundamentally, what Chalk does is it responds very quickly to real-time requests and makes data available at the time of inference or the time of a request. So that way, whatever is generated can be as fresh as possible. Now, that sounds relatively easy. I presume in practice it's not. So what's tricky, and therefore why does Chalk exist, about making data appear inside of an AI context or a machine learning context as you need it? That seems very obvious from my layperson's perspective. I presume technically it's tricky.
Yeah, well, here's the state of the world before Chalk. So you have things like Databricks and Snowflake, incredible companies that do huge batch training jobs, a billion rows at a time, billions of users. Great, wonderful. But then in sort of the context of an application, you want to serve those answers really quickly. And so what people do today is they take the train data and they'll cache it in something called a feature store, which is really just a cache. And then they can serve really low latency answers inside of an application. But the problem
Mark,
is,
in that context, there still won't be fresh data. It's still the data from the last batch job.
That's the trick. So there's this tension because they can serve it in a low latency manner. There's effectively no math, no computation happening. So it's fast to serve, but it's old because it was pre-processed. And so companies found, well, hold on, maybe the pre-processed data isn't good enough, but I still care about latency. And that's kind of the tension. And they wound up building their own custom solutions. So sometimes people ask, what do you compete against? And the answer is often companies wind up trying to build something that's a little bit in between a feature store and these batch training jobs. That's what we're building. And it was inspired by real life experiences. So I'm lucky my wonderful co-founder, Elliot, I've got two, Elliot and Andy. Elliot was one of the first 10 engineers at Affirm. So you can imagine buy now, pay later. It's not an overnight job. You click, you have to decide, are we gonna loan you $100? And they said, yo, Elliot, we have to do this on the fly. He couldn't buy something, so he built something. He built the same thing again at his startup with Andy at Neobank. They sold it to Credit Karma and built it again. It's because there's a gap. If you want, no, seriously, it's a very tried and true way of starting a company.